Colvin twice toward justice. He doesn't even remember where he first heard her story. There had been a few articles in the Birmingham Press and USA Today and some mentions in civil rights histories. Here was this teenager 9 months before Rosa Parks.
In the same city, on the same bus system, with very tough consequences, hauled off the bus, handcuffed, jailed, and nobody really knew about it.
What's more, she later challenged the law in court, becoming one of 4 women plaintiffs in Browder versus Gale, the court case that successfully overturned Montgomery's bus segregation laws. And yet, Claudette Colvin has been pretty much forgotten. She hardly ever told her story when she moved to New York, because at the time, she says, everyone was talking about Malcolm X and Black Power. No one wanted to talk about integration. When asked why she is hardly known and everyone thinks only of Rosa Parks, Colvin said this.
The NAACP and all the other black organization groups knew that she would be a good icon because she was an adult. They didn't think that teenagers would be reliable.
She says that there was something else about Rosa Parks besides her age that made her the strategic choice of black leaders.
Her looks, they liked her looks. Their texture, and I would say the skin texture that most black people accept when they're with the middle class. So she fit that profile as a nice, icon that was, she was genteel.
David Garrow is a historian and the Pulitzer Prize-winning author of Bearing the Cross, Martin Luther King Jr. and the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. He says people may think that Rosa Parks' action was spontaneous, but black civic leaders have been thinking about challenging the Montgomery bus laws for years. Also, Colvin, after her arrest and some difficulties she experienced after the arrest, became pregnant, and civil rights leaders felt she was an inappropriate symbol for a test case. Garrow says for all these reasons, when Rosa Parks, seamstress, secretary of the NAACP, was arrested, everyone rallied around her.
Because Mrs. Parks was so well known and respected, she was someone with a sort of natural gravitas and seriousness and just an inherently impressive person.
I think she realizes that the community was not prepared to accept a teenage girl.
Writer Phil Hose.
Claudette is pragmatic enough to realize that. On the other hand, she did it.
And here's another thing. The images of the civil rights movement that most people see, Dr. King, John Lewis, Malcolm X, James Meredith, you mostly see men in suits. Historian David Garrow.
The real reality of the movement was often young people and often more than 50% women.
Phil Hose wrote his book primarily for teens, he says. The stories of Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King are great stories, but they are people in their 30s and 40s.
But Claudette Colvin was 15 when this happened.
Hose believes she deserves to be known, and that she brings the missing perspective of young female activists who fought segregation. Margot Adler, NPR News, New York.